Greetings and welcome to you. I am Shushana, and this is going to be a reading for the Aethers element. I just lost my little stone. Okay. Oh, there it is. My Tesla plate. This raises the vibration of anything it touches. So you put it on you. It only takes 20 minutes to raise the vibration, and I like putting it on decks, glasses of water. You can get a bigger one and keep it in the refrigerator. Um, so let's do a reading for the Aethers element that represents higher consciousness and also includes a bit of fire element. So there's like the fire element, there's the metal element, silvers, the ethers, and for the ethers that includes a little fire, this will also include ophiuchus, because you might wonder, what about ophiuchus? What element does ophiuchus represents the ethers? So let's begin. What does this collective need to meditate on? If you feel like you're always in the 5D, or you're always thinking about Christ consciousness, you're always thinking about universal justice, universal law, higher consciousness, you're always thinking beyond the problem, then this is going to be your reading. What does this collective, or if you identify as Ophiuchus, this is also going to be your reading. I got these three that just flipped over, but I wasn't done thinking. Aethers element needs to get grounded. Okay, definitely a need for grounding, because you identify or feel like you're currently embodying the ethers element. We change, okay? Sometimes you will be fiery, other times you'll be watery, sometimes you'll be an airy fairy, bubbly rainbow. Other times you'll be kind of negative, heavy, low, and metal element. So we have the authority to go up and down as we wish. And that's why we're not supposed to judge others, because we all have the power to go up and down. When you are feeling low, you function at a low level because you're feeling low, kind of how they say that hurt people hurt others. You're functioning at a low level. At any given moment, you can raise it so that you are functioning with your higher mind. If someone is yelling at you and spewing a bunch of profanity, they're using their lower mind. Who are we to judge them for feeling so low they have to use their lower mind, when we can just forgive them, because we all have the capacity to use our lower or higher mind as we wish. Okay, so did this one just fall out? What needs to be meditated on is your identity. For the element of the ethers, you have a hard time with self-awareness, okay? So, and Capricorns are definitely going to feel connected to this reading, because Capricorn also represents Christ and higher consciousness and resilience, because they're always being judged or misunderstood, because all the elements have different lessons. And It's interesting how the Capricorn, for example, is always being judged, but they represent judgment. Libra is always feeling out of balance, but they represent the scales. So it's almost as if the symbol that a lot of these elements represent the lesson. So for the people, the collective of the ethers, slash also people who just simply feel connected to this, you have a problem with self awareness. Self awareness is a blessing and a curse at the same time for this collective. Okay. Because this collective feels like my self awareness is majestic. It's what makes me a moral person, right? It's what discerns right from wrong, what saves me is the self awareness, right? But there's a negative to it. The negative is that you always feel watched, you always feel judged, you always feel tension. You always feel like people feel uncomfortable by your presence because you have so much aura and riz. A lot of the people that are visually blessed are also going to feel connected to this collective, because the ones that are visually blessed, where you feel like you were born with extra collagen and shine and spunk, whether you're a male or a female, if you feel like you fall under those categories, you will also feel connected to this collective, because you are one of those that feels confused by why you are always messed with, rejected, held by different standards, ridiculed, belittled, jaded on, shaded on, envied. Give me 1 second, will you? I need to close the curtain. Sorry about that. Something was bothering me where, when you feel watched by a certain window, that I just felt like I felt watched by a certain window, so I had to close my blinds. Where were we? Beauty. So let's say you are one of those that is confused because you feel mistreated. Let's get straight to the point, right? Generally mistreated for simply looking a certain way in a certain setting. You will feel connected to this because you represent the ethers. You represent higher consciousness. Most likely, you have a good relationship with Source. When you have a good relationship with Source, you sleep well. Source sits at the throne of your pineal gland and is in charge of dispersing your melatonin. So if there's an imbalance with you and Source, you're not going to get good sleep. And that same source that decides whether or not your brain gets melatonin is the same one that decides how you age and whether or not you age at all. So that produces collagen to be in alignment with source. And you get mistreated for it. You get ridiculed for it. You get belittled for it, attacked, targeted for simply being in alignment with source so much that it shows in your pores. So, what needs to be meditated on? I'm going to pull a second one because that one is so heavy, especially if you're hypersensitive. You get hurt by that, where you feel like you have to be introverted, like you can't even go out because you have to protect your soul from vampires that want your light and can smell your light when you're near. It's very important for this collective to cover your body. I want to say from head to toe, including the men and women. I don't know why, I just get this anguish for this group where you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. I want to stay as light and simple as possible because I don't want to go deep into the past. I just want to tell you that you don't deserve it. You didn't deserve it. You don't deserve it. And if you are ever put in a situation like that again, you must immediately remove yourself and clear yourself. Should we continue without the second card? Because I feel like I can't even handle the second card for the same position. That's how strongly I feel this realization that a lot of you already have. And it causes you to feel different, but you're not. The fact that you're different from the tree of life is a lie. You're not different from the tree of life because bad apples exist. The bad apples are the cause for the lie. The bad apples want you to believe the lie that you're not part of the tree of life because they're not. They're rotting and dead. So they don't want you to know that you're still a beautiful green leaf attached to the tree. And that's their own loss. Okay? This collective has PTSD in regards to trusting people, and I don't blame you. Let's do it. Let's just do it. What else needs to be meditated on? Let's pull it like a band-aid. You're hiding your true identity. You show the world a completely different person than who you really are. Who you really are on the inside if you ever felt comfortable, if you were ever given an opportunity to show who you really are, is like a cartoon character. It's like the highest vibration cartoon character that I can think of. I'm thinking of. Don't laugh at me, okay? SpongeBob, like SpongeBob, like like seeing the world through the eyes of this happy, innocent cartoon character. And then having to put on a mask. I'm getting like emotional for this reading, y'all. Ugh. Having to put on a mask, having to put on in a costume of how you think the world should see you. And what needs to be meditated on is your identity, how you see yourself, and how you present yourself to the world. And committing to that. Okay? Committing to your new identity. The new identity is the identity that you always were, but you stopped believing in it because of modern society. What needs renewal? Coming from the north direction, what needs renewal? Protecting yourself. This is going back to what I said in the beginning. I have this desire to tell you to cover your body from head to toe. Even if you're a man or a woman, listening, being receptive to the messages that are coming from all 8 directions. Protecting yourself from people's eyes. Protecting yourself from anyone that looks you up and down and thinks that they are greater than you. We're supposed to be looking at each other like fellow humanity. Like you are me and I am you. We are all humanity. We are a collective that came here for a specific mission or purpose to help and serve, to take care of the earth and the environment. And this group doesn't see themselves as higher as anyone. They see themselves as equal for the most part. They see themselves as equal. So whenever you intuitively run into somebody that makes you feel like you are below them, that is your cue to exit. And what needs to be renewed is your self protection mechanism. Your self protection mechanism needs to protect your finances because there are these financial vampires that harvest the energy that comes with your financial situation and likes to drain your labor. So, what needs to be renewed is how you protect your funds, how you protect yourself. And by protecting yourself, I don't mean isolate yourself either. And I know that's difficult. It's so difficult for introverted people, for entrepreneurs, for people who work from home to find positive social circles. It's hard, I know. And it ends up always getting pushed to the back burner because it's too risky, I know. And a lot of introverted healers will prefer to settle for health issues associated to introversy and isolation for long periods of time than to risk being in the wrong circle. I get it. I get it. Prioritizing protecting yourself and your finances is numero uno. I get it. I'm just saying, if there is a positive person in your life that respects you, trying to have a picnic with them, a picnic, a picnic with them, coffee with them, simply walk at the park and just talk about how both of you have been. I want to cry because I feel like there's some people here that don't have anyone to talk to. And it makes me so upset that anyone feels that way. It makes me upset that we live in a world where people feel like they have to protect themselves this much for reasonable reasons. um, if that is an issue, finding out how to resolve that, finding out how to resolve that so that you have at least one person that you can call and tell them what you're going through. Whew, this is an emotional one. This has been the most emotional one out of all the elements I've done. The clarity from the east. What clarity needs to be seen from the east direction? Meditating. More. Why are almost all the elements being told to meditate so much? I honestly believe that there's something that we're not seeing. I feel like there's a sign. It's like there's something that we're being cloaked to not see that has to do with the clouds, cloud shapeshifters, hiding ships, cloud shapeshifters, hiding motherships. There's so much that's happening that I think we need to pay more attention to because this one came out so much. This is like there's something that we're not seeing. There's something that we all need to pay attention to that's happening in the spiritual world that needs clarity. There's so much more that I wish that I could say on these bloody platforms that I cannot. Um, I'm just gonna go on. It has to do with the black goo being activated, along with Neuralink also being activated. Even if you're not chipped, it's in the atmosphere and inhaled. And in order to break that interference, you hum from low to high and make it harmony, right? A harmonium, a human harmonium. And play with that. Play with that. Humming in different tunes will push off and malfunction the black goo. Moving along to what needs growth. From the south direction, what needs growth? The fire pit. Motivation. What is being targeted for this collective is your motivation, if you haven't noticed already. Your power, your accelerated healing comes from your motivation because you're a healer or an activator. And when you are in motivation mode, you activate everybody else, you remind everybody else, you tap everybody else to wake them up. And that causes a beautiful fire of truth, right? So that is why your motivation has felt like it's been targeted. Spend quiet time within the void that gives forth, propels your creativity, and inspires your actions. Just as the sweat lodge ceremony begins at the fire pit with the energy of a flame, your new endeavors begin with your motivation. The metal the metal as in mettle and attentiveness generated by personal motivation carry you forward to completion, to the achievement of your goal. Your inner fire propels you forward, giving you a clear vision of the desired outcome. Carry that vision through to the end, and you will be strong and swift as wildfire. If there's something in your life you are attempting without success, consider the strength of your motivation. See if you can ignite your interest. If you cannot get fired up about it, maybe it's time to let it go. And that pertains to any and all aspects of your life. If something is not igniting passion anymore, then let it go, whether it's a person, place, or thing. The motivation that needs growth is what's going to make you spiritually happy. And what is your clue? If you don't know what that is, it's what motivates you to get up out of bed. If it motivates you to get up out of bed in the morning, that's what it is. If you don't want to get up out of bed by thinking about it, then that's what it's not. If you want to change careers, jobs, or hobbies, ether element, shedding. You are starting to outgrow your work situation. You need to set higher goals and standards. You work well in healing and medicine. This is you shedding your old skin. Um, if you've been looking for work or you've been trying to work at the same job you worked at in the past, or simply doing what you've been doing this whole time, and all of a sudden you feel dizzy, vertigo, dementia, forgetfulness, disorientation, regardless of how much money you make at that job is not for you. And it's so hard to accept that when the money is good. But if you feel any of those symptoms, that's not the right job for you. Let's do one more for the ethers element. And we have on the table, time to put your demands on the table and get serious about what you want. Ask for a raise, a promotion, or a step up. Okay, so no more settling for less than you deserve, ethers element people. Okay, let's do some love segment. Love. I'm going to put all these to the side and put these back. First, let me start off with ophiuchus. Ophiuchus singles. If you in the house, what's up? Oh. Ophiuchus singles are nervous. What are you nervous about? You're super nervous. Why are you so nervous? You're making me nervous. You're nervous because you're about to get everything that you've ever desired financially. There's some kind of breakthrough with some kind of endeavor, and you already know that that's going to come with commitment right after. There's something that you were waiting to follow through, and it's going to follow through perfectly because you have intuitive abilities and you sense things before they happen, and you know what to do and what to say and when to say it and when to not say it. So all of that is going to get you what you wanted. and there's something that you wanted before you get into a commitment so that you look good and polished. And this is like a dream come true kind of thing because not a lot of people are able to do that. You know, people end up just um, being flexible and compromising. And you're going to be able to not have to be flexible or compromised. You're going to be able to just get straight to it and impress the person that you want to commit to. That's what I get for you. For everybody else, if you're single and you're feeling like you're embodying the ethers element, you are in a powerful position to obtain what you request. You know, sometimes depending on the energy, the weather, you have a good chance or a bad chance, you know? And right now, people who are embodying the ethers element have a good chance of making everything go their way mystically, energetically, spiritually, simply because of your mystical gifts, I want to say. Your mystical gifts are going to help harmonize what has been out of balance. And in regards to your romantic situation, if you're dealing with anybody, for the ethers element, there's an imbalance in whoever the ethers is dealing with, or vice versa. There's an imbalance where one person is immature, one person is inexperienced in something, and that's what's causing the issue is immaturity. So the biggest challenge for people who are representing the ethers element is how to find harmony in their life, in their relationships, in through the obstacles when dealing with people who are immature or dealing with job offers that you're overqualified for. I'm not picking that up. Yeah, that's the imbalance or an age difference. And it's whether or not the balance can be resolved is not a yes or a no. It really depends on the individual. You can't force somebody to mature. It takes time. So it's difficult for people who represent the ether element because they feel like the only way that they're ever going to succeed is by being alone. Because the people that they do consider are not on the same page, you know, either because they're representing other elements or because they don't understand the element that their person is on or know how to go between elements or on the same page. There's just an energy here of people not being on the same page or maturity level. And only time can heal a situation like that. That's about all the messages that I have. Time, only time will tell. Only time will tell, and what people decide to do with that precious time. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.